Hello, today I want to show you how to make one of my favorite vintage edgings. This can be found in several old publications, and this particular version is from one of my books, and I have slightly modified the stitch count from the version I have, and I have written a pattern for it just to make it more easily accessible, because sometimes the old patterns can be a little bit difficult to read. So the pattern is available on my website. I'm going to put a link in the information box below the video. I'm going to start right from the beginning. I'm using two colors because I think this edging looks particularly pretty when you make the chains in one color, a plain color, and then the flowers in a variegated thread, so the flowers change color as you go along. Today I'm using two Lisbeth threads. This one is called Easter Eggs. I thought it was appropriate as we're nearing Easter time. And this one is called Green Orchid Medium. I'm going to use the method I showed in the previous video to hide the thread in the when you're starting off tatting. So as I showed, you pull a bit of thread from your bobbin and then you just tuck in the end here and catch it between the bobbin and the body of the shuttle. Oops. And then you place it around your hand and you're ready to start making your first ring. So if we're looking at the pattern, the first ring says to make a ring of 7 picots with just one stitch in between. So this is how you start off when you're having the end tucked into your shuttle. You get this loop here and you can let it go as you tighten your stitch, and that's the first half stitch made. And this lets you make your stitches over the core thread and your thread end at the same time. So we're going to make 7 picots. So one stitch, that's the first picot. Second picot, third picot, fourth picot, and the fifth. And I'm going to stop here because now I'm going to cut the thread end. 5 stitches is enough to hold it secure. You give it a little tug and then cut it close to the last stitch you've made, making sure not to cut your other thread. I've done it before. So that's 5 picots, 6 and 7. And we're going to start closing the ring, but we want at this point to add the green thread. So I'm going to pull it out and pass the end in the loop of the ring before I close it. And I'm going to leave myself a little bit of length, about this much. And now I'm going to close the ring. Now we're going to reverse work and we're going to make the first chain, and we're going to be enclosing the thread end in the same fashion as before. So I want to tuck this thread end into the working shuttle. So I'm going to wind it back a little bit because we don't need it as long for the working shuttle, about this long, and we're going to tuck this in here, again between the bobbin and the shuttle body. And you want to make sure your 2 threads here are about the same size. So we're ready to make the chain, wrap around the hand, and then the pattern says to make 4 double stitches. And again, as you can see, this method lets you make the stitches over both your core thread and your thread end, your second thread end. So we're going to make 4 stitches and a picot. 1, 2, 3, 4, a picot, and I'm going to complete this stitch. So I've got 5 stitches made, which is enough really to hold the thread in securely. So I can now let it out of my shuttle, give it a little tug and cut it. So that's it. You started your tatting and you have both thread ends dealt with at the beginning. So now we want to make, after the picot, 8 stitches. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a picot, and 8 stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a picot again, and 4 more stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Snug your stitches a little bit, and the pattern says to join to the middle picot of the flower. So there's 7 picots, so you want to join to the 4th picot. And this is a lock join made with 1 shuttle only, with your working shuttle. Then it says do not reverse work, and make a further 4 chain stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it says reverse work, and we're making the next flower. So 7 picots with 1 stitch in between. So we start with the first stitch, then the first picot, and we're going to make 6 more picots. And if you wanted them to be really even, you could use a picot gauge if you wished, but I'm happy to just eyeball the size of my picots, which are the size of my petals. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Close the ring. Then it says reverse work again. And make another 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Reverse work. Another flower. Always making sure the first stitch of your next element is very close to the last stitch of the previous element, so there's no gaps anywhere. So 1 stitch, and then we start the picots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and close the flower. Then on the pattern it says reverse work again, and we're starting on the next long chain. So it says chain 4, 2, 3, 4. It just says a plus on the pattern, so it's you join to the last picot of the previous long chain. Like this. Then you carry on 8 more stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a picot. And this picot, that bottom one, is the one that you're going to use to attach to your fabric afterwards. 8 more stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1 more picot, and 4 stitches. 2, 3, 4. Join as we have before to the middle picot of the previous flower. And that's it already. That's 1 repeat. You can see already how the flowers are starting to change color. I'll make 1 more repeat with you. So after the join, you do not reverse work, so I'm going to carry on where I was. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, reverse work, a flower, 1 stitch, 1 picot, and then 6 more picots, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 7 picots in all. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, I've got one missing. 7, and close the flower. Reverse work the short chain of 4 stitches. I'm using my little mat here to roll my bobbin to wind it back instead of winding it with my thumb. 2, 3, 4, snuggy stitches, reverse work, another flower, one picot, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and close the ring. Reverse work, and we're going to do this one more long chain. You can fold it out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, then join to the last picot of the previous long chain. Continue with 8 more stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a picot. 8 more stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a picot, and 4 more stitches. 2, 3, 4, and join to the middle picot of the previous flower. So that's it. It's a fairly simple edging, I think, but it looks very pretty, particularly with a nice variegated thread that changes colors. So if you're doing something like an oval or a round like this one, you just keep going around the length that you need, and then don't forget to join back at the beginning. But if you were wanting to work a square piece in the pattern, it does show how to make a corner. I have designed a corner for this edging, but I will show you that in a separate video. That's it for this time. I hope you enjoy making this edging. Happy tutting! Bye bye!